Vâng.
Hôm mai con xem cái váy mà hôm trước mẹ định mua ở trong Cần Thơ liệu có giảm giá không? À,
Vâng.
thì để mẹ mua nhé. Thường nó giảm bao nhiêu %?
Cũng nhiều, 50.
Đúng rồi. Chỉ có Shopee nó mới giảm, chứ còn những người ở trên Facebook ở dưới chắc nó không giảm.
Phải check mấy người trên Facebook.
Vì trẻ cũng đắt nhỉ, 10 cộng là 300.000 mà.
Vâng. Mai giảm giá đấy thì chắc sẽ rẻ hơn.
Mai ghi của cái khăn cải á.
Mai làm ngày 11 tháng 11 thì Shopee trợ giá nhiều.
Như khăn cải nhưng mà mua trẻ.
Thì đấy là mua trên Shopee đây.
Khăn cải có Shopee không?
Có.
Nhưng mà mua mà lại ngày 12 mới ăn thì
vẫn còn deal. Người ta kéo dài sang ngày 12 nữa.
Thế con để ý cho mẹ xem nhé, xem nó giảm bao nhiêu nhé. Mai đặt xong là ngày 12 lấy chẳng hạn như vậy.
Thì ngày 12 đặt đi.
Sợ nó hết giảm giá.
Vâng.
Thế là ông mình mua.
Cái chè mua bao nhiêu cũng được, cũng chả mất hết nhiều đâu. Nó không bị hết hàng.
Nó giảm thì có được còn là 220.000.
Chắc được.
Thế cơ.
À đấy, đi tìm cái này. E thế nào? Fan of Destruction. Sao lại thế?
Now, I would like to ask you some questions about yourself. Do you have an experience when you did something well?
Yes, absolutely. I had experience when I did something well in the past. It was during my elementary school. I succeeded a test with flying color. After that, my teacher praised me in front of the class, while my parents were really proud of me.
Do you have an experience when your teacher thought you did a good job?
Absolutely. It was during my secondary school when I did an excellent job in my mathematical exam. I achieved a score of 10 on my final test, which was the highest out of all the students. As a result, my parents were really proud of me, and the teacher even praised me in front of the whole class, and I became the role model of my class.
Do you often tell your friends when they do something well?
Yes, absolutely. I think by regularly praising my friends, I can foster goodwill and creative a positive environment in my area and at school. Apart from that, it allowed me to show my affection towards my friends, saying that I am aware of their strengths and weaknesses, and I am
Phone?
I prefer to make a list on my phone. It is a great way for me to remember things, as the memo app on my phone can remind me of the uncompleted tasks so that I can rearrange it the next day to complete it. Apart from that, it is also convenient to take out the iPad and iPhone and note down the to-do task on the memo app.
Do you make a list for your work? Does it work?
Yes, absolutely. I usually make a list of what to do at work, and it is successful. Without doing so, I couldn't go through my day without any pending tasks and uncompleted tasks. I am grateful to the memo apps. Making a list of what to do at work not only boosts my productivity, but also allows me to manage my time and tasks effectively.
Do you make a list when you shop?
Absolutely. Making a list of what to buy is crucial as it allows me to remember what I should buy and what I should avoid, so that I can not only manage my budget and my shopping time effectively, but also balance my shopping time and other time effectively.
Do you often see advertisements when you are on your phone or computer?
Yes, absolutely. I often see advertisements on my phone, especially when I am using YouTube. YouTube usually show a short clip of advertisement before every single video, as it is a way for them to increase their revenue generation. Apart from that, seeing the apps like the advertisements like that is not only distracting but also annoying.
Do you see a lot of advertising on trains or other transport?
Absolutely. These advertisements allows me to be aware of the products that could help me solve specific problems of mine. I think that they are the ambassadors that can connect me to the products that can meet my needs. Apart from that, seeing them consistently in public places is also a good way for me to constantly be reminded of a specific product, so that whenever I need it, I can think of what to buy.
Now, I'm going to give you a topic and you will talk about it for 1 to 2 minutes. Remember to take notes.
Let me take a moment to describe a time when someone apologized to me. It was last weekend. I took my niece to the shopping mall in my area. It was during summer vacation. My aunt wanted me to take my niece to the food court so that we can have lunch there, as my aunt could not cook for that day. So when we arrived at the food court, we chose our favorite food and sat down to eat. things were normal when suddenly my niece misbehaved out of the blue. She was 5 years old, so she just acted by her instinct. Out of the blue, she cried loudly and made the whole area annoyed. The customers sitting next to us were annoyed and showed their anger. I was really upset and disappointed at my niece, but she kept crying like that and embarrassed me in front of other customers. Then I have to take my niece out of the shopping mall immediately and scolded at her. Luckily, my niece was obedient enough to apologize to me for her misconduct. At the end of the day, whenever I think of that incident, I couldn't help but feel annoyed and ashamed.
Earlier, we talked about describe a time when someone apologized to you. Now, I will ask you some more questions related to this topic. Are women better than men at recognizing emotions?
Yes, absolutely. I think women are better than men at recognizing emotions because, after all, women tend to have the sixth sense that can detect the emotions, especially the complex feelings of the counterpart. This is our innate gift that men tend to not have. It is also what we are proud of as a woman.
Do you think every sorry is from the bottom of the heart?
It depends on different situations. Some apologies can be sincere. You can only know when you look at the face of the individuals who are saying sorry. If they feel remorseful for the mistakes and they want to pay their astonishment for their errors, then they tend to have an upset face that showed terrible emotions. Meanwhile, those who don't have sincere apologies tend to take it lightly and apologies without any emotions and remorses in their apologies.
On what occasion do people usually apologize to others?
People apologize other people when they make a mistake regarding the counterparts. Apart from that, when they feel sorry for hurting individuals, they will also say sorry. Finally, people also say sorry when they want to express people.
How do you think the sixth sense develops in women?
I believe that the sixth sense is a natural gift that is endowed to only women. This sense allows women to detect complex emotions and feelings. This allows women to become a better mom when they have to take care of their newborn babies. Apart from that, as women have to do housework and take care of the kids, she tend to become more emotionally sensitive.
Why do you believe some apologies are insincere?
I think that some apologies tend to be insincere because some people may lack a sense of remorse. They tend to show little pity or regret when they make mistakes. This is actually a weakness or an impairment in their brain. Apart from that, some people tend to show ignorance and tend to be arrogant in front of others, which makes their apologies insincere.
How can people improve their ability to apologize sincerely?
I think people can practice saying sorry more often so that they can develop their sincerity. Apart from that, they can start reflect on their own experience in their journal, gather their thoughts to learn from their past mistakes so that they can develop empathy and sincerity. Finally, people can also practice their sincerity by helping old people and children through engaging in nursing programs or teaching training programs.
Why is saying sorry important in maintaining relationships?
I think that every relationship will have its ups and downs, and when people in a relationship fight, they should apologize to the counterpart in order to make up and show the counterpart that they want to amend for the relationship. Saying sorry is actually a good way to show sincerity in a relationship, and as a result, it can help maintain connections.
Describe a time when someone apologized to you.
Let me take a moment to describe a time when someone apologized to me. It was last weekend. I took my niece to the supermarket near my house. It was afternoon. I took my niece to the food court in order to have lunch. Then my niece was just around 5 years old. She suddenly misbehaved out of the blue. Maybe it was because of the discomfort due to the hot temperature inside the shopping mall. But then the fact that she cried loudly in public makes it difficult for me to handle the situation. It also made me feel ashamed and upset. I took my niece out of the shopping mall and explained the situation to her. Luckily, my niece was knowledgeable enough to understand my explanation, even though she was still a smart kid. She apologized to me sincerely. I think that thanks to her apologies, I feel better in terms of my emotion. Let me take a moment to describe a time when someone apologized to me. It was last weekend. I took my niece to the supermarket near my house. It was afternoon. Let me take a moment to describe a time when someone apologized to me. It was last weekend. I took my niece to the supermarket to have lunch. It was at the food court. Suddenly, my niece screamed and cried loudly in public, making me ashamed and upset. So I quickly took my niece to the toilet and patiently asked her what happened. Thankfully, my niece was a good kid, so she told me her problems so that I can solve her issues. It turned out that she accidentally hit her leg into a chair. After that, I told her to apologize to me, as it was a misconduct when crying out loud like that in public. Let me take a moment to describe a time when someone apologized to me. It was last weekend. I took my niece to the supermarket to have lunch. It was at the food court. Let me take a moment to describe a time when someone apologized to me. It was last weekend. I took my niece to the supermarket near my house, and it was at noon, so we had lunch at the food court. While we were eating, my niece suddenly screamed and cried loudly. I was really ashamed because it happened in public. Everyone felt annoyed by the baby's crying noises. So I quickly took my niece to the toilet and to ask why she did that. It turned out that she accidentally hit her leg into another chair. So I explained the situation to her, that she shouldn't cry loudly in public like that. Thankfully, she was a good kid, so she understand what I said. She apologized to me. After that, whenever I think of that situation, I couldn't help but feel grateful to have such a good and obedient niece like her. Let me take a moment to describe a time when someone apologized to me. It was last weekend. I took my niece to the supermarket. Let me take a moment to describe a time when someone apologized to me. It was during a summer vacation. It happened a year ago. I had a Let me take a moment to describe a time when someone apologized to me. It was during summer vacation. I took my niece to the shopping center for lunch. Then, when we were at the food court, my niece suddenly screamed and cried out loud. I couldn't fathom the whole situation, so I quickly took her to the bathroom. I told her that her cries really upset and embarrassed me. Everyone looked at us annoyingly, so I just wanted to make sure what happened to her. So she explained her situation to me. Thankfully, even though my niece was a little kid, she was knowledgeable enough to understand my messages. She apologized to me. After that, I couldn't help but feel thankful to have such a good and obedient niece like her. Her apologies was sincere and I accepted it. To the bottom of my heart, I think that her misconduct was forgivable. After all, she was just a small kid who got hurt by hitting a chair. Let me take a moment to describe a time when someone apologized to me. It was during summer vacation. I took my niece to the Let me take a moment to describe a time when someone apologized to me. It was last weekend. I took my niece. Let me take a moment to describe a time when someone apologized to me. It was last weekend. I took my niece to the shopping mall near my house. It was at noon, so we had lunch at the food court in that shopping center. When I Let me take a moment to describe my niece who apologized to me. It was last weekend. I took my niece to the shopping center in my neighborhood. It was during lunchtime. We had lunch in the food court. Then suddenly my niece screamed out loud. She hurt her feet by hitting it at the chair. Then her pain caused my niece to scream and cried out loud in misery. It was in public, so everyone looked at us annoyingly. They didn't seem to approve of my niece's loud cries and noises. So I quickly took my niece to the bathroom and take a look at her leg. Luckily, it didn't bruise. So I told her about the whole situation and asked her to stay silent. Luckily, my niece could understand what I said, so she quickly quieted down, and she even apologized to me. At the end of the day, whenever I think of that incident, I couldn't help but feel grateful to have an obedient niece like her. Let me take a moment to describe my niece who apologized to me. It was last weekend. I took my niece to the shopping center in. Let me take a moment. Let me take a moment to describe a time when someone apologized to me. It was last weekend. I took my niece to the shopping mall near my house. It was during lunchtime. So we had lunch at the food court. While I was eating my meal, suddenly my niece screamed and shouted out loud. I was surprised at her misconduct like that. So I told her to stay quiet, but she refused to listen to me. She caused a fuss in that food court. Everyone looked at us like two aliens. I was really ashamed at my niece's misbehavior, so I quickly took her to the bathroom to teach her a lesson. I explained the whole situation to her, saying that it is forbidden to scream and shout out loud like that in the supermarket. Thankfully, my niece understand my message, so she quickly apologized to me. I accept her apologies. It seems sincere to me. At the end of the day, whenever I think of that incident, I couldn't help but feel grateful to have an obedient niece like her. Let me take a moment to describe a time when someone apologized to me. It was last weekend. I took my niece to the shopping mall. Let me take a moment to describe a time when someone apologized to me. It was last weekend. I was having lunch at the food court with my niece. Then suddenly my niece screamed and shouted out loud. It was because my niece see her favorite cartoon characters appeared on the screen behind my back. Then suddenly she jumped out of her seat and screamed aloud. It was annoying at that time, and everyone looked at us like two aliens. And in niece, I felt ashamed, and I told my niece to quiet down, but she refused to listen to me. So I need to take her to the toilet to teach her a lesson. Thankfully, my niece understand my message, so she quickly apologized to me. At the end of the day, whenever I think of that incident, I couldn't help but feel grateful to have such a thoughtful and obedient niece like her. Let me take a moment to describe a time when someone apologized to me. It was last weekend. I was having lunch at the food court with my niece. Let me take a moment to describe a time when someone apologized to me. It was during lunchtime. It's happened 2 weeks ago. I was having lunch with my niece at the food court in a shopping center. Then suddenly my niece screamed and shouted out loud. She saw her favorite cartoon characters on TV, and it caused her to jump out of her seat and start screaming aloud. I was embarrassed of her misbehavior, so I scolded at her, but she refused to listen to me. She kept shouting and jumping out of joy. Everyone at the food court looked at us annoyingly. They just want some peace and quiet, as it was during lunch break. Everyone was just too tired to listen to such loud noises like that. So I quickly took my niece to the bathroom and taught her a lesson. I told her that it was misbehavior of her, and it was wrongdoing of her. Luckily, my niece was a thoughtful and obedient kid, so she quickly apologized to me for her misconduct. At the end of the day, whenever I think of that incident, I couldn't help but feel grateful to have such a thoughtful niece like her. After that, she learned her lesson. She never repeats that mistake ever again. Let me take a moment to describe a time when someone apologized to me. It was during lunchtime. It's happened 2 weeks ago. Let me take a moment to describe a time when someone apologized to me. It was last weekend. 2 weeks ago, I had. Let me take a moment to describe a time when someone apologized to me. It was last weekend. I took my niece to a shopping mall in my neighborhood. I was having lunch with her in the food court when suddenly she jumped and screamed aloud. I was really confused because it was so out of the blue. Then it turned out that she saw her favorite cartoon characters on TV. She jumped out of her seat and started yelling and shouting aloud, which causes everyone to look at us in an annoying way. I felt uncomfortable and ashamed because of her misconduct. So I scolded her. I even took her to the bathroom to taught her a lesson. Luckily, my niece tend to understand my message, and she quickly apologized to me for her misbehavior. So I accepted her apologies and told her not to repeat that mistake ever again in public. Thankfully, my niece accepted my teaching. So at the end of the day, whenever I think of that incident, I couldn't help but feel grateful to have such a thoughtful little one like her. Let me take a moment to describe a time when someone apologized to me. It was last weekend. I took my niece to a shopping mall in my neighborhood. I was having lunch with her in the food court when suddenly she jumped and screamed aloud. I was really confused